Hey, this is Jeff from the Humans Connecting team. Our podcast is all about serving, supporting, challenging, and inspiring you to become a connected human. The content of our podcast is of a general nature, and consuming this content is not the same as seeking individual advice from a connection mentor, registered mental health professional, or coach. Conversations about human connection address loneliness. We destigmatize loneliness here at Humans Connecting. We do that by talking about loneliness openly. Loneliness conversations include a range of topics, which at times may be difficult for us to talk about, to hear, or to sit with. If throughout our conversation this is true for you, we encourage you to please contact a mental health hotline. The link in the episode description can help you find some immediate support from many places you may be in the world. Our advice to you is this: meet yourself where you are and how you are right now. If you don't feel up to it, we'll be right here when you're ready. We're glad you're here.
Oh, it's Phil. Welcome to the Humans Connecting podcast. How amazing are you? You have chosen to press play and invest some time today in becoming a more connected human. You have chosen deliberately to press play on this content which you know will serve you, support you, challenge you, and inspire you to take the steps that you need, perhaps as you're in the midst of a loneliness experience, towards taking those steps to becoming a more connected human. Or perhaps I don't know, you'll become more aware of loneliness conversations happening where you are in the world, and you're going, you know what, I actually need to. I don't feel lonely right now, but I do recognize the importance of being socially well and being connected and being a connected human. So I'm going to listen to this episode. Whatever brings you here, we're so glad that you're here, because this is a podcast where we are all about sharing ideas and stories and insights that help you take steps to becoming a connected human. And this podcast, and indeed all of our services, are the result of what I needed and wished that I had access to when I was entering middle age and realizing that I was experiencing loneliness. And I wish that there was this advice and support and through this podcast and other resources that helped me take steps and give me the courage to take steps. It wasn't there then, but it is here now. I've created it. And I'm Phil McAuliffe. I realize that I've launched right into this without introducing myself, which, if you're a frequent listener to this podcast, you realize that I do that all the time. I am Phil McAuliffe. I am a global loneliness thought leader, and I am the founder of Humans Connecting. And I'm a speaker, I'm an author, I'm a connection mentor, and I am a commentator on loneliness and social connection in the media. And me and my team at Humans Connecting, we've created all these products and services designed to help you, your organization, your community, to take steps towards being a place where you feel connected and the humans around you feel connected. And we do all of that through humansconnecting.org. Now, I'm really excited for you to join us for this episode, because Chai Bade is someone that he's going to be sharing his story with us shortly. And his story is one that I feel will really help you take steps to becoming connected. He's going to be sharing with you, you're going to be hearing in our conversation shortly, his kind of awareness, his like epiphany, really, of what he needed to do to work through his thoughts and feelings of his loneliness experience towards getting connected. You're going to be getting this fantastic idea and suggestion from him. And the idea and suggestion actually has really changed his life. And it's helped him create the Bunch Up. And the Bunch Up, as you'll hear, and Chai will explain shortly, is a service that he's creating to help people connect. So, really, his loneliness experience and the insights that he got from it, and talking about his loneliness experience, has really fueled his connection. You're going to be hearing that shortly. But for those of you who don't know Chai, I'm just going to read his bio here before our conversation. Chai Bade is a digital marketer and the founder of The Bunch Up. Chai is a tech-savvy digital marketer who's always been drawn to the power of technology. He's an introvert with social anxiety and has experienced loneliness firsthand. And he's also focused on solutions. So he says, and you'll hear in the episode, that he identifies problems and then works on the solutions. And through personal experiences and attending meetups, he's learned that social connections are vital in combating loneliness. But what makes doing these connections so hard? So, in answer to that question, he founded The Bunch Up, and it's a platform connecting people for small, meaningful connections and gatherings based on shared interests, such as board games, fitness, chess, as he says, anything really. And the aim of The Bunch Up is to make social connections less intimidating and helping people find their bunch. So, I hope that you're comfortable. You're going to get a whole lot of wisdom in this conversation, and I'll see you on the other side of the conversation, which happens right now. Chai Bade, welcome to the Humans Connecting podcast.
Thanks, Phil. Thanks for having me.
I'm really excited for this conversation because any opportunity to speak with another human who has used loneliness to create something that helps people connect is a conversation that I want to have and that I want to be a part of, because I find that so tremendously inspiring. So no pressure, be tremendously inspiring, Chai. So
Thank you, Phil. Yeah, I love sharing stories, and yeah, I love sharing my own story, particularly because yeah, I've had different phases of loneliness and all that. So I'm pretty sure a lot of people can relate to my story. So yeah, I'm really excited for this.
great. So for those of you, for the viewer, for the listener,
Mhm.
who is not familiar with you, who are you? And take this wherever you want, but who are you? What brings you here?
So I'm Chai Bade, and I'm the CEO and founder of The Bunch Up, a platform that connects people for small, meaningful gatherings based on shared interests. For example, you love playing chess. And actually, I love playing chess. So I go onto this platform, I list an activity and say, hey, I'm looking for a chess buddy. And someone in my neighborhood who also wants to do the same thing at the same time will connect with me and we guys play chess together. So that's yeah, I'm the founder of the Bunch Up, and other than that, I'm also a founder of a marketing agency called DG Marketers. We help businesses, grow, and we do website developments and sort of guide them through the whole startup journey and all that. Now,
Great.
other than that, I love problem solving. I'm a problem solver in general. I do that almost on a daily basis. But personally, I'm a completely different person. I'm spiritual. I'm very, very spiritual. I love talking about space. I love talking about universe. I love talking about meditations, mindfulness, law of attraction, you name it. Like anything around the whole mindfulness, law of attraction. I love it. Love those topics because there's just so much curiosity in me that I always want to talk about and understand who are we? Like why are we here? What's the purpose? And these are some topics that really attract me. But along with that, I'm also an introvert who kind of don't love going out a lot, but that's something I'm currently working on. But I love being an introvert. There's a complete different view
Mm.
that people have, but I love being an introvert as well. So yeah, that's pretty much me.
It's like you nailed the intro. um, I love it. I love it. And viewer, listener, I just want to pause for a moment. And there's some things there in Chai's introduction that aren't necessarily like contradictory at all, but contradictory is not the word that I'm thinking of here. But it's certainly like there's paradoxes. And we can be everything and everything, like everything and everywhere at once. We can be, wowed by, the cosmos and the universe, and then also love, the like to get lost in the 64 squares on a chessboard. Um, there are 64 squares, right? Yeah.
Yes.
And, we could be, we can be all about helping people to be big and bold and awesome while also being, wanting to be, quiet and maintain our energy, or be, in the way that introverts do. All of that is completely fine. And it actually makes like humans endlessly fascinating. And I really feel there, Chai, there's going to be multiple stories that come up because generally when someone has an intro as polished, um, as that, like it's taken practice, but also you have to know who you are to be able to say, with the degree of confidence that you just did, how you know how you are and who you are and what you do in the world. Um, so yeah, I'm kind of keen to go there if you are.
Definitely, definitely, and thank you. Yeah, it's always yeah, there's just so much to talk about in general, and particularly about myself because I know me better, and there's just so many stories that I can share that I'd love to share, just so that it will not only help you but also all your viewers and all that. There's just so much to learn. Yeah, just excited.
And generally speaking, guests on podcasts are awesome when they chat. Like, um, otherwise, it could be really tough. So you're a friend of the format. Try with your openness to chat. Um, I just before moving on, like viewer listener, I really want to invite you to um, reflect. If you were sitting here, this is just coming to me now. If you were joining us and I was to say to you, like, can you introduce yourself? What are the paradoxes within you? Like, are you, I don't know, do you like heavy metal, but you work at, you're a violinist in a symphony orchestra or something like that? Whatever it is, like, what are the paradoxes? Because absolutely, like, one of the things that, I don't know about you, Chai, but for me, the paradox is something that, paradoxes can be things that we're kind of, um, we want to hide, we want to deny, we fear the judgment of of the thing that might embarrass us or cause shame. And yeah, like, but for me, and I don't know about you, Chai, but for me, like the paradoxes are like the good stuff. Because they give such like these contradictions, these things that, come together within that person, and make up who they are and how they are and why they are. Like I want to know all of this. And the paradoxes are the place where humans are human, and I'm totally here for that. What about you?
Oh, for me. There are definitely a few. I agree that that makes who we are. Just for an example, just as an example, I had stuttering problem, right? Um, and many things in my life, and one of the main reasons why I am an introvert today was just that. And it the way the way my life has changed over time is just because of those fears. And I normally I initially earlier before I had no idea. I let's say 5 years ago, I didn't know much about mindfulness. I didn't know much about loneliness. I didn't know much about being self-aware and all these things. And I saw these little things of like stuttering or being introvert and all that. They used to be such a big problem in my life. And I was struggling so much, and only I know, and I haven't even shared this with anyone. These are my insecurities inside me. I couldn't share because I felt like sharing them will sort of embarrass me in front of people. I just don't, I just never felt confident to share with me. And I think it's okay to have those. And I think it's okay. As I became more self-aware, I started accepting this. I'm like, okay, you know what? It's okay. It's completely okay to have those. And you can figure out, like, as long as you're confident internally, that's all what matters. And all these other minor sort of things that you have, or the problems that you see within yourself, they're not such a big deal as long as
Yeah,
you deal with it.
I love that. I love that. And you said a word there that I think is really fascinating because I think it's something that brings people to this content. And I want to. It's a variation, if not this directly, but a variation of the line. I recognize that I'm experiencing loneliness, and I know that I need to do connection. I need to connect, do connection in order to move through it. But I'm just not confident enough, and I need the confidence to do that. And there's a couple of things in that. I just want to say this before I ask the next question. But there is no confidence fairy
Mm.
that sprinkles confidence dust over us, and suddenly there's like this little explosion, and lo, we are confident. Confidence comes from practice. And one of the things we all have these doubts, these insecurities. We all have these. We all end up in some way, shape, or form judging, doing the honor of judgment, like for ourselves before someone else judges us. And then we can pass it off as like, well, I'm not confident enough. And the only way that we get confidence, paradox, the only way that we get confidence is by doing stuff. And which is where I feel this comes up over and over and over and over and over again. And I feel it's going to come up with you, Chai, but I feel like it comes up over and over and over again. We could wait a really long time to be confident enough to do something, confident enough to, I don't know, go and play chess with someone in our neighborhood, I don't know, go to the gym, apply for another job. We could, wait and wait and wait a very long time to feel confident enough. Can we just forget confidence for a moment? That's a dead end. We're never going to have enough confidence. I will never have enough confidence to be the founder of Humans Connecting. I will never have enough confidence to be a loneliness thought leader. I will never have enough confidence to be in the media. I will never have enough confidence. But the only thing, like the way that to flip the script on this is curiosity. And curiosity gives us the grace to go, you know what, I don't know how this is going to go, but I'm going to run the experiment. And or this is really, I've had an emotional response to this. This has made me angry. This has made me deliriously happy. This has made me, woefully indifferent. Or whatever the emotional response is, we can choose to get curious about each of those emotional responses and go, oh, where's that coming from? How's that? And it gives us the grace to explore doing something differently and running the experiment. And so many people, guests on the podcast, humans who we've worked with here at Humans Connecting, have unlocked like the changes that they want in life because they've dispensed the nonsense, the crap of confidence, and going, you know what, I'm just going to be, I don't know how this is going to go, but as it was in Jack Hedges' episode a few episodes ago, 10 seconds of confidence, 10 seconds of courage will change your life. And being curious unlocks that 10 seconds of courage. So yeah, it was just something that you said there. And I really kind of wanted to say, like to explore it, because I think the confidence might be, it's a false goal, because we're never going to be confident enough, but we can be curious and run the experiment.
I love what you said. I really love what you said. I agree. I agree. You gotta be curious and try things that will eventually get you where you want to be. And that's the same story with the whole my stuttering issues. And because of that stuttering issue, I was very less confident
Yeah.
talking in front of, I don't know, like a group of people. And that made me an introvert. My introvertedness came out of this whole, some internal things that's going in me, which is stuttering issues. And I've had it for so long, and I've never tried to sort of try different things just to sort of feel a little bit better, or feel a little bit sort of curious to try new things. And that's how I started going into these groups and meetups and all that. And the reason why I did that, because out of just curiosity, okay, what if I really go into a crowd and then start talking, when there are people and there are a lot of people, what happens? What's the worst thing that could happen? So that's how I've started this whole journey. And all this started when I became more self-aware. And I think that's why it's very important for you to be self-aware and understand. You need to spend more time with yourself, being mindful, not distracted. Just when I say spend time with more with yourself, which means you gotta sort of be more mindful around everything you do, because that will help you sort of understand what why like what are certain things that you're not very comfortable with, or you're not confident with, or you just are not very confident. And what you do is basically you start exploring those. You'll feel curious. Hey, what if I do this? For example, if there's someone who's not very confident in front of public, like public speaking and all that, they're gonna try it. They're gonna try, maybe just start small. And that's what I normally do. I normally talk to myself and I say, what's the worst thing that would happen? Why am I embarrassed just thinking that it's gonna go bad? What if I do it? What if I nail it?
Yeah. Yeah. Do you find, I love that. Do you find that what if you nail it is a
Mhm.
scarier answer, as opposed to what if I started? What if I embarrassed myself, like stuttering or otherwise? But, what if I embarrassed myself? What if, the ground did open up and swallow me? And, like, I had that horrible dream of like, I walked into the classroom and, I was the only person in my underwear kind of thing, like that, the worst possible scenario. Is it that the best possible scenario is scarier sometimes?
I agree. That's actually a very interesting question. Yes, sometimes the best possible way could be more scarier.
No.
Yeah, so it's actually a good way to think about it as well. Maybe when you're trying to be the best, maybe it's more intimidating. It's more like, oh, can I be the best?
Yeah.
That that can be a problem as well, isn't it? Like,
Mm, mm,
yeah, true, true. I love that. I love that.
yeah. Yeah.
Hmm.
Certainly for me, like it is, sometimes the fear of success is scarier than the fear of failure.
Hmm.
Um, and yeah, so it is. I think there are so many things just in that little interaction there um, that I think are so full of goodness. But one of the things, Chai, that you said, and I really wanted to identify this for the listener and the viewer. But for you, listener and viewer, go back one episode. And there are so many similarities between what Chai just said and what Jacob Darkin just what he shared when he realized during 9 months in the spinal unit at Royal North Shore Hospital how he needed to learn how to connect as someone after a life-changing injury. And pretty much Chai said exactly the same words. So if you haven't listened to it, go back and listen to that episode. It is fantastic. And when two smart people who have said that they look to challenge themselves, they go to their edge and they go, how much, like, what would one more step beyond this comfort, the edge of my comfort zone? What will that look like? What will that require of me? What will that require from me? When two people have said that, if you're listening to these one after the other, like within the space of half an hour, like you've received that twice, um, that's a sign that there's something in that wisdom. So Chai, you didn't know how awesome you just like what kind of awesomeness you just freely dispensed onto an unsuspecting public, but that that is so key when we are doing connection. It's go to your edge, and the edge might feel really close to the center, like to your comfort zone. But go to your edge, take a step, and then take another step. And it doesn't have to be take a step and then like wait 5 seconds and take another step and wait 5 seconds. It's like, no, no, no. Come back to yourself, regroup, recover, celebrate the win, learn the lessons, all that kind of stuff. But you got to keep taking a step. You got to keep taking a step. You got to keep taking a step because that's how your social circles grow.
I agree. I agree. Well, that's one thing that always works as well for me, which is if you aim for the whatever the 10th step when you're taking the first step, you can never get there. In the first
Yeah.
place, it looks a lot scarier to even just visualize and be like, can I even get there? Like imagine when Google started. And if he was like, okay, I wanted to get here just as soon as possible, get to where it is in 2024, he wouldn't have even started Google,
Mhm.
right? Like
Yeah.
it's overwhelming. There's just so much content on there. It's like mil billions of, like websites or businesses on there, a lot of content on there. But
Yep.
he only looked one step at a time. And that's the best thing you can do. And yes, we all have issues. We all have some, I'm not going to call them issues, but we all have like some things in life where which we are not very comfortable of, or which
Yeah.
which we feel a little bit embarrassed, and it's okay. It's okay, and it's 100% okay. I can't stress this enough how much I used to be how much I used to be embarrassed of like my whole stuttering issue, and there is several things like I felt like there was a point where I felt like maybe I'm just like useless, maybe I'm just not very good at anything really. And I came So right now I own two businesses, and I only did that by taking one step at a time, by overcoming my fears. And I'm like, okay, what's the worst thing that will happen just by me going and presenting? And that's why I joined different Toastmaster clubs and all that, just so that I could present. I'll be like, I was there. I was like, okay, you know what? I'll just do it. Doesn't matter. Even if I'm embarrassed, that's fine. What are they going to kill me? No, right? Like it's just me opening up. And after that, the moment you finish it, the confidence you get, man, that's just the best feeling ever. And you
Yep.
thank yourself so much after that.
Yep. Yeah.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
just yeah, people need to
That
do it. Yeah.
that is fantastic. Such rich wisdom there. Thank you.
Yeah, right.
So, Chai, I'm curious. I wonder if the seeds of like your answer to the next question, you planted them in your first answer there. But what is so like in your loneliness experience, what and experiences, what has your loneliness told you about the connection that you need? So there's like two parts in there. Like, what's your loneliness there, and like, what has your loneliness told you about the connection that you need and be missing?
Yeah. So yeah, as I was saying, because I was an introvert, I was trying to surround myself with just a very small circle. And to that, I've always been a very motivated guy. Like I wanted to do something. I wanted to do something big. I want to make billions. And that's always been me. And that combination, what happens is I loved staying at home. And because I was just motivated here, all I was doing is just working, 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 working. And I was working like 15, 18 hours every day. And there was a point, it was all good. I was working on my business. I was building a business. My first business wasn't very successful, but I was just like spending too much time. Just didn't have any work-life balance. I was just literally working 15, 17 hours, and then I was just, you know, nothing. I was literally doing, when I think of it now, I literally didn't do anything other than like working and sleeping. It was all good until a point when I started feeling lonely. And it just happens with everyone, actually. So when people do something for a period of time, there'll be a time where they'll quickly realize that, hey, you know what? I'm just very alone. I'm just lonely. I just don't have a very good circle and all that. That's exactly what I felt. I was like, you know what? I'm just feeling lonely. I just don't have anyone. While I had like friends, I had like very limited circle, but close family, close friends, and all that. But I still like when you just spend way too much time, or when you are just way more distracted, is when you actually feel that. And there was a phase almost 2.5 years where I was just completely distracted. I feel like distraction is a very powerful word, and I mean it because I know distraction is basically being less mindful. And for me, all I was doing was waking up, working, and then just sleeping, and then waking up, working, and sleeping. So I was not observing what my everyday looks like. I felt lonely, and I slowly started feeling depressed. And I was lucky enough that I so my sister is very spiritual. I spoke to her one day and I told her, hey, this is what I'm feeling. I'm just not feeling right. I feel I am just too distracted. I just feel a little bit hopeless, particularly when you start business and if it's not going well, it just, man, it's just not a very good feeling. You will have a
Hmm.
lot of mood swings and all that, particularly for startups and all that, because things always won't go as you plan, right? Like you're starting a business. And I had like consistently had like mood swings at a period of time. That's when I spoke to my sister and she said, Chai, if you are less aware of your surroundings, if you're more distracted, you will you will likely continue feeling the same way. The only way that you can fix it is by being more aware, being more mindful, and try having a bit of social connections as well. Because your work is not your whole life. There is way more beyond that. And something that she said just ran along those lines made me think twice. And I on the same night when I was back at home, I was thinking, I was like, wait, what am I doing wrong? I'm working hard. I'm working like, a lot of hours every day. I'm working for my business. Am I happy or I'm happy? I don't know. I was just confused. And I sat and I spoke to myself. And then at that point, I realized that there was a gap between me being actual me that I want to be. Yes, I want to run a business. Even then, I want to run a business, but that's not how I wanted to run a business. Just working overtime, not having a life, not having, not being very hopeful and all that. Instead, I wanted to be more like self-aware. And what I did was from the very next day, everything I was doing, I was just being very, very mindful of what I am doing. What it did for me. Number one, I completely avoided social media. And the reason why, when I say completely avoided, I probably say 80%. Because social media is supposed to be fun, but it cannot be a distraction. Let's say in this moment, I finished my work at 6 o'clock. And if I'm just lying on my bed, just scrolling through my social media for like 3 hours, that's called distraction. But if you literally spend like 15 minutes just for relaxation, that's good. That's not bad at all. And where I was so my mistakes around that, what I realized at that point was I was just way too distracted. Even with work, I was just like not being mindful. I was just working, 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 trying different things. When you're starting out a business, you try and do so many different things. And I kept doing it. And then there was a point where I was just completely burnt out. And when I became mindful, I was like, okay, I'm gonna work for 25 minutes. I'm gonna take a break for 5 minutes, the whole Pomodoro technique worked very well for me. And I figured out like things like that. And I'm happy to share like there are many techniques like that, which I tried and tested and just became everything that I was doing, I was just being mindful. When I was eating my lunch earlier, I used to watch something, but now I was just being very mindful. What am I eating? Am I having fun? That thing changed it released a lot of mental pressure off of me and I felt so much better. The other best thing that I did was I started going out and meeting new people, like through these online meetups and all that. I went to quite a few meetups, just sort of going out and just meeting people who share my interests and all that. That's been a very big game changer, although I did found some flaws in that whole process because every time I go out to these meetups and all that, there's been like a lot of people in there I used to meet, like let's say 20 people and all that. So there was always this, again, my whole introvertedness and all that together. I started feeling a bit of like sort of awkwardness starting a conversation with like a lot of people, and I felt like being like an immigrant in a country like this, you feel like a little bit sort of distant, right? Because there
Yeah.
are like less common things that you have to like you that you can share and all that. That was a sort of gap that I found in that whole process. I'm like, I'm enjoying it. I felt good, but then there were some sort of gaps in the whole communication, and I felt like when I'm in a group in like people of like 10 people or 20 people, there's just so much happening, but then you still miss that whole sort of personal, deeper connection with just one person, and particularly
Mm.
for introverts and all that, right? Like even if you try and attempt to go out and meet people, you want to quickly go home. You want to just relax. You want to get back into your comfort zone and all that. That's exactly what I was trying to do. It did help social connection, but then again, I quickly wanted to get back to my comfort zone.
Mm.
Yeah.
There's so much in there. Thank you. One thing that's coming up for me is, and you went there in your answer, but I want to bring you back to it. So your sister gave you some advice, some wonderful advice, basically like slow down, smell the roses. What's the rush? Speaking on behalf of myself, that's that's advice that has been given to me many times. Rarely has it been comfortable advice. I was like, no, no, I don't want to do that. But How did you initially receive that advice of you need to be more mindful? I'm curious if you can remember like what the narrative in your head was saying as opposed to like how your heart was feeling. So your heart, I dare say, suspected that it was truth, but your head wanted to hold on to like the busyness.
Mm.
What was going on in your head first up when your sister gave you that wonderful advice?
It was a new feeling because I've never done anything like that. And business people can relate to this, which is you wanted to compete, very well. You wanted to grow quickly. Like you want to grow your business as soon as possible because what if competitors come up? What if there's another business who's doing much better than you? So you wanted to like speed up the process. You wanted to match their pace, or you wanted to match like okay, what if a new competitor comes up today, and what if they have a lot more money than me? So I will compensate that money with my efforts, and that's exactly what I was doing. Because startups don't have money, and we still wanted to achieve like this similar results. And then what happens is we were like, you know what, I don't have money but I have time, I'm just going to work, whatever, 15, 17 hours a day, compensating that. And instead of paying someone else, I would do it. My mind was telling me that when my sister was telling me, my mind was like, you can't slow down. You're into business. You spent a fair bit of money already, so you can't slow down. No way. And the other side of me keeps telling me that, isn't it boring to slow down? Like when you're eating food, how can you be like watching something you love versus just eating by not doing anything? It sounded boring to me initially. And it sounded like it's a lot of work, right? Meditating, for example, meditation is like calming yourself, but it's a very boring task to do until you really understand the benefits of it. When you think of it as like doing nothing, like how can we do that? How can we not do, anything, So it's just like that sort of a weird feeling that I've had in my head. But then I wanted to try because I'm like, okay, what if it actually works? Let me actually try. Let me take it slow. I still remember it was a very strange feeling when I was trying to do that. But yeah, I'm here today. So I'm really grateful that I did
Mm.
it. Yeah.
After a day,
Uh,
like what was not after a day, but the time that you started doing that, and you started like, all right, I'm going to be more mindful. I'm going to do this mindfulness thing. I'm going to, it's going to be boring. It's going to be awful and stuff, but I'm going to do it anyway. Do you remember what you noticed?
I know for sure that I felt so much better that night. I felt like I just released a lot of stress from my mind because it's people just don't get it. People think it's just like such a hard thing to do and all that. When you're being more mindful, you are just not overthinking about your future. You're not stressing about what happened in the past and or the future. You are more present. You feel like there's so much, like a lot of burden is out, like because you're just living in the present. And the next day I actually thought about it. I was just like sitting in the backyard, and I was like, if I think of my present only, not my past, not my future and all that, initially my brain said, wait, if you don't plan for the future, if you don't think of the future, you can't live on this world. So you have to think and plan. But then when I spent that whole day, I felt so relaxed that, hey, isn't that true that there is no guarantee if tomorrow exists, right? It's just that's what I told myself, and it really worked very well for me, which is like there's no guarantee for tomorrow, and whatever will happen anyway, right? So the best thing that you can do is living in the present, enjoying this moment. And at that point, I told myself I felt so much grateful because like I was back then 26, 27. I was running a business. I started a business. How many people could have done that? How
Mm.
many people did that? I felt super grateful. Instead of me, the same night when I was coming back home, instead of walking like this, I was walking like this. I felt so much confident. I felt like, you know what? I am grateful. I am thankful. And I am able to walk. I'm able to talk. I'm able to, do everything that I can now. That feeling is just, it's a game changer for me. And since that day until today, there's no way, there's never ever I thought like, oh, you know what, being mindful is just shit. Like there's no value to it and all that. And I want to be mindful. And again, I would do anything it takes to be mindful.
Mm. There's a few things there.
Mm,
I'm letting that. I don't know how you're going, viewer and listener, but for me, I'm just letting that wash over and absorb, not wash over, but letting that wisdom absorb. There's a few things here. One is there's a an episode of the podcast which is it's called the number one connection killer,
mm,
and it's just a few episodes ago. And basically, busyness is the number one connection killer, as we've seen it. And this is purely anecdotally, this is not a rigorous scientific peer-reviewed study. But in the time that I've been working in and around loneliness and human connection and reflecting on my own, like what created the circumstances that fed my loneliness and kept me in loneliness, it was busyness. And I see this time and time and time and time again, that we're so busy, we're so in our own heads, we're trying to like, do for the future, that we're completely oblivious to the present. And we're also then running so fast and trying to get so far away from the things in our past that we don't want to know about. We don't want to sit with, we don't want to acknowledge there. We want to leave the past in the past. And so we run and run and run and we distract, we numb, we busy as a like socially acceptable way of socially celebrated, not just acceptable, but it's like celebrated. We celebrate the hustle. We reward the hustle. And we aim to hustle. And all we're doing, as you experience, Chai, as I've experienced, and you, dear viewer and listener, are likely experiencing as well. Like we completely miss the only place where connection ever lives. And if you didn't get it, like the connection only ever lives in the present, right? If that hanging pause there was like you were like, what is it? Where what's the answer, Phil? Say it.
yeah.
Right. So try this. There's so many things that I love about this. There's so many things. I'm like, yeah, it like, you may or may not have seen or listened to that content. Like, I'm judging you if you haven't, just know that. But second of all, like, you're speaking to me right now as I am humaning today, right?
Yeah.
And I'm in this state of frustration, right? And I know the techniques of like identifying frustration, and viewer listener, like the technique for like, if you notice yourself frustrated, um, like noticing that you're frustrated, great. Second question is like, what do you expect to happen? Like, and then it's like, well, I actually expected to change the world in a day. Okay, so is that realistic? No.
Yeah.
Um, And, there's questions then that we can kind of go, oh, like these expectations that I've had for changing the world today, or creating Google, to use your example, or climbing Everest in a single bound. It doesn't work like that, but we have these expectations that, feed frustrations. You're speaking, I just want to say thank you.
Okay.
Like you don't know it, but you're speaking straight to my soul today, because I'm actually in struggle on that today.
Yeah. Um, yeah. That's that's a reality of this world. We have some expectations, and we all aim to get there in a day or as soon as possible. But in reality, let it take its time. It just happens when it's the right time. If you stressing today is not gonna change anything really. And that's my biggest lesson, particularly recently. It's like whether you stress or you don't stress, whatever will happen anyway. Now the question is, do you want to enjoy this process, or do you want to just stress yourself and just make it so disappointing? I always chose to just enjoy the moment, enjoy the days, and enjoy this journey. Normally, there'll be days where I have my own sort of mood swings, and there'll be days where I go like super down, super sort of unmotivated and depressed and kind of thing. The first thing I talk my and I think I started doing this after the whole conversation with my sister and all that. I just lie in bed. I'm like, I shut down everything. I shut down all my laptops and all that. I turn off my phone, go lie in my bed. And then I tell myself, why am I stressed at this point of time? Sometimes it could just be some business or some kind. Sometimes it could be just a purchase of a property or something. Sometimes it could be other things. And then I ask myself a question. It's like, do I have control on it? Is there anything that I can do to sort this issue out? In many cases, well, in a fair bit of cases, I don't. In some cases, the worst thing I'll also ask myself, what is the worst thing that would happen if whatever the worst thing that you were thinking would happen? For example, if it's about like buying a property, which exactly happened about a year ago. I was buying a land, and then I bought the land, I paid a deposit and all that, but for some reason my bank sort of loan process didn't go through, and the sellers were not okay refunding the deposit, and that was nearly $40,000. I was so much stressed, and all I did was there'll be particularly some days it feels like more stressful. I'm like, that's so much hard-earned money. I don't want to lose it. I was back in my bed and I was like, I shut down everything. I was telling myself, what's the worst thing that would happen? The first thing, do I have control? I don't, because it's just up to them whether they want a refund. Number two, what is the worst thing that would happen in this whole thing? I will lose 40,000. And then third thing, is it the end of the world? Nope. Is it gonna change my life for the like for good? Like is that the end of my life? Nope. Can I get back up? Yes. Is it how long would it take if I just do the right things? Maybe 5 months, 6 months, whatever, maybe 10 months. And for some people it can be just 1, 2 years. Other than the fact that you don't have that 40,000 in your bank balance, everything else remains as is. Why am I stressing? What do I deserve to be stressed? Like now what happens is in the next 2 years, for example, it takes 2 years for me to get that money back. Being stressful, is it going to help any situation in any way? Nope. Just that I'm losing 2 years of my beautiful life because I'm just being stressful. And I kept telling myself, and within an hour, I completely recovered from it. I became very normal. And yes, there'll be again days that we all speak, right? So even loneliness, depressions, all these, they come in phases. They're not going to be with you. They're not going to be
Mm.
gone forever. And you should be okay. to have these phases. But as long as you could quickly come back to, you become mindful and then be like, okay, what's going to happen, and then just sort of tell yourself, be okay with things happening, and then just move on. That's the best thing you can do. Yeah. Yeah. It's interesting life.
It's it, you're so like you're back, like you've just nail hit head, and hammer hit nail. Like I can't even speak. Like that. It's such profound wisdom that I needed to receive today. Um, and I I'm just chuckling at how this episode has taken a turn that I really didn't anticipate. And strangely, it was, and I feel kind of selfish, but it's absolutely the way that the conversation needed to go for me today. And so, kind of allowing it to be, is bringing the goodness, as opposed to like, no, these are the questions. Like, you answer the questions. Like we're going to go where we're going to go. And listener, viewer, I'm hoping you're getting. I don't know. I'm not hoping. I know that you're getting some absolute pearls of wisdom from Chai here. I want to just take a quick break so you can go and collect your thoughts, listener and viewer, and listen to a message. But after the break, I've got a really great question that I want to ask Chai, but I just feel like I need a bit of a cup of tea and a lie down, just to steel myself for the second bit. We'll be back in a moment.
Have you ever been with someone, perhaps it's been with your partner, or maybe while you're at work or out with a group of friends, and despite having people around you, you just feel disconnected? And this is an incredibly common experience, one that I've certainly had many times. And when these things happen, we often don't really know what to do about it. Or worse, we think there might be something wrong with us for having that experience in the first place. Hi, this is Pete from the Humans Connecting team. And if you've experienced what I'm talking about, then you might find our Connection Starter course really helpful. See, these feelings, they're all just expressions of loneliness. And before I did the course, I didn't even realise I was lonely. And I certainly didn't see these feelings as an invitation to discover how I could become more connected to myself, more connected to my people, and more connected to the things that I'm most passionate about in my life. Now, the course itself, it's made up of a series of self-led videos, a comprehensive workbook, and a handful of external resources, all lovingly led and supported by Phil and the team here at Humans Connecting. By the end of it, you'll have your very own personalised connection plan that is specifically tailored to you and your unique connection needs. Look, it's made a huge impact on my life, so if you're curious about improving the connections in yours, jump over to humansconnecting.org and under the products menu, click on the Connection Starter course, because you are absolutely worthy of it.
So, Chai, welcome back. And tell us about the bunch up, and how, I mean, you said a bit in your intro a little while ago, but how does the bunch up work, and how does it connect people?
Yeah. So it's basically, I'll try to keep it as easy as possible. Again, going back to that example. So I'm just going to talk about two things. One is about the whole introvertedness and all that. And number two is connecting with people and all that. Now, I love meetups. I wanted to go out, meet people and all that. But then meeting people always is not such a great feeling. So when you come out of it, for some people, they feel good. They feel confident because, oh, I went out and I met so many people and all that. For some people, it's not the case. For some people, it's about like that deeper connection with someone matters more than meeting tens of people and all that, right? For some people, it's about that quality time that matters. And I'm like that. I prefer quality time with one person over meeting tens of 20 people, at the same time. So this is a problem where it was my personal experience, as I've mentioned. I always wanted to meet like that one person who shared my interests. For example, I love working out, and I always felt like having a gym buddy would make the whole working out process so much more easier. And there was a point where I struggled so much to go to the gym. It just wasn't easy. We
Mm.
are internally motivated. Some people are very internally motivated, but they lack external motivation. They're like every day they tell themselves that, hey, I wanted to work out, I wanted to work out. But then they would never go out because something stops them. Having a gym buddy, having a buddy or an accountability partner will make that process so much more easier. And
Mm.
a lot of people can actually relate this because I've had that experience. Let's say if I had to go attend a conference,
Yeah.
I feel less motivated when compared to a day where I had to go with a friend. So much confidence, you go with so much confidence, you enjoy that whole process, you have so much more fun. And literally, if you could think of anything, that's the case. Having just one person next to you keeps you motivated, makes you consistent, makes it easy to do whatever you want to do. And for me, it was gym is number one, playing chess is number two, and number three is like board game nights. I love playing board games, right? Because I'm too much like, sort of busy with work and all that. So having some relaxing night just makes all the difference. So I've had this idea. I was speaking to my again, I was speaking to my sister where we were like sharing, and I was like telling her, you know what, like I really wanted to start my workout journey again, my fitness journey. I wanted to be consistent and all that, but I'm lacking. I wish there was someone in my neighborhood who also wants to do the same thing at the same time. I'm pretty sure there's someone in my neighborhood who also are like very internally motivated. They're just not motivated externally. Just they're just then they don't have that nudge to go to the gym. And I've just decided that gave me this idea of the bunch up, where connecting two people who wants to do the same thing at the same time, right? Whether it's working out, whether it's sports, playing cricket, playing whatever, like whatever you could think of, meditations or traveling, exploring. There are like so many students that maybe move to a new city, or maybe a lot of immigrants, or a lot of like over 50s, you name it, like literally anyone, or maybe expecting moms. Like
Yeah.
imagine this, right? When I was having this conversation with my sister, she was pregnant, and she was expecting a baby, and then she was saying this. Okay, she was on leave, and she was like, "I wish there was someone in my neighborhood who is. I'm pretty sure there is. She was living in an apartment. Pretty sure there's also someone else, in there who is also, pregnant and expecting a baby and all that. If they could catch up, if they could spend like a couple of hours every day, either stretching, working out, playing things, or reading a book, how good that would be. And yes, meetups are just good sometimes. I don't think they're good every time. I don't think they are, again, it kind of depends person to person. But for me, they're okay, they're good once in a month or maybe twice in a month. But other than that, I want more deeper connection. So that
Mm.
the whole idea of the bunch up started. And so basically, it's a platform where you can connect with someone else, mostly like-minded people, in a smaller gatherings as opposed to a larger group. So it's more of one-on-one catch-ups, or maybe a smaller group, 2, 3, 4 people kind of thing, doing activities together. So that removes any awkwardness of asking some stranger or asking your friend, hey, do you want to play chess this weekend? And if they say no, you feel bad and all that, kind of removes all that awkwardness. And you jump on the platform, list an activity and say, hey, let's play badminton tomorrow at 7 p.m. in Geelong. And obviously, my neighbors will see it. They'll be like, hey, I love playing badminton. Let me go message Chai. They message
Yep.
me, and we do it together. So that's pretty much about the bunch up.
How long has the bunch up been going?
It's now been 7 months now, and we have over 600 users now, actually 700.
They're based in around Geelong or all
Yeah,
over?
around Victoria. Most
Yeah.
of it, I would say 60% of them are based around Geelong and
Yep.
40% around Melbourne.
So for those of you who aren't in Australia and aren't familiar with where Geelong is, It's the second largest city in Victoria, so the southernmost state. Just it's about an hour outside of Melbourne, sort of southwest of Melbourne. And it's generally my experience that if someone, I don't know, Chai, do you go for the Geelong Cats?
Sometimes, very, very rarely, I'd say. Yeah.
It's like anyone who does not follow the Cats, we all know someone because Geelong supporters tell you that they go for Geelong within moments. If not, they're wearing something that shows that they're Geelong supporters. But if they happen to not, they will tell you within a few minutes of chatting with you. Just by the by about Geelong. So what does the future look like for the bunch up? So, let's play it forward. What's on the Chai Bade, the bunch up world domination, agenda for like in the next year? What does it look like?
Certainly. So I wanted to build like a very good platform where people, so listing an activity on the bunch hub should be it should be just so much easier, unlike creating or setting up an event. It's just like, I wanted to do something now. I feel like doing something now. I should be able to jump on the platform, list an activity saying, hey, I want to do this, right now. And I find someone just instantly like that. What it does is like, there'll be those different moments in our everyday life where we feel like doing something, we just don't do it because we lack motivation. Again, I wanted the Bunch Up to be a platform where the first thing, okay, I wanted to do this and I'm not motivated. Let me go on Bunch Up, list an activity, find a person, boom, that's all. It has to be as simple as that. Working on your hobbies, your interests, your passions shouldn't be that harder. And it has to be very easy, and it has like multiple benefits. And every time I think about it, like I am helping a lot of people build social connections is just such a great feeling because it combats loneliness, it combats social isolation. We all needed it. We all need it so badly, particularly after COVID, because everyone's working from home, everyone's isolated and all that. The bunch up solved that problem. And it makes much easier. Anyone can use it. Doesn't matter you're introvert, extrovert, anyone can use it. And my ultimate goal is to make sure the bunch up is a go-to platform for anyone who wants to work on their hobbies, passions, or anything. And they should be able to go on there and find someone in literally minutes. And I wanted to sort of obviously expand it all over Australia and all that. And I'm pretty sure I can do it because there are a lot of people who are looking for a platform like this. And I must tell you, so when we launched it, we've got so many messages from a lot of other businesses and a lot of people messaging us saying, oh, I love the platform. I love this idea. I really need it. And that felt so good. The fact that a lot of people are looking, for a platform like this. And before we launched the business, we actually did some market research, and we went out, we started asking people, hey, if there was a platform like this where you can find like an accountability partner or some buddy, let's say you want to cook something and you can find a buddy there, would you give that a try? 95% of the people actually said yes. And the other 5% said, I don't know, because it's strangers and all that. And when we spoke about like the whole safety features and all that, they're like, okay, I might give it a try. But they're just not very, very confident. But that was it. That was a very positive response that we've received, and knowing that people are actually looking for it. And I think it solves a very obvious problem.
So that's a year.
Mhm.
What does 10 years look like?
Yeah, so I wanted to sort of incorporate AI into this, and which means, again, there are many ways that I want to do this, but then in general, the way I wanted, so the Bunch Up has to be a go-to platform for number one, anyone in the world, anywhere, wherever you are. Let's say you're new to another new country. For example, you went to Bali and you want to meet locals to learn a bit more, bit of their culture and all that. You go in there, you still say what you want to do. Let's say I want to explore Bali, and someone in Bali who wants to also show you around, who loves showing you around, will message you and you guys can connect. So it has to be like a go-to platform for all bunch ups. So people can combat loneliness, and people feel more connected. People feel more like it people feel like, okay, meeting people is not such a hard thing. It doesn't have to be awkward. It doesn't, have to be, it doesn't have to be hard, like meeting someone new, to work on things I really want. So I wanted this to be a go-to platform around the world. Anywhere you go, anywhere you travel, there is Bunch Up that will help you find someone, to work on, things that you really want to. Yeah.
Mm, love it. Love it. No, I particularly like how AI is being the plan is to use AI as a tool to help humans connect, as opposed to humans connecting with AI. And I think you might know my thoughts on that, Chai, and stuff. But I'm just keeping in mind the time, and I've got one final question to ask.
Mhm.
What is one piece of advice that you can give to someone right now in the midst of a loneliness experience?
Okay, so number one, loneliness is not a disease. And please do understand that it's okay to feel lonely. The real problem starts when you don't realize that you're lonely. That's when the real problem starts. The best advice that I can give you today is try to be mindful. It changes everything. Being mindful is basically being present. Just everything that you do, just think of that. Don't think of what happened in the past or what will happen in the future. None of them are in our control. The only thing that's in our control is the present moment. Our brain is like a radio. You can choose to tune it into any frequency that you want. At this very moment, I can choose to be sad by thinking of worse things that happened in the past. Oh, that day I felt so embarrassed. Oh, I don't have this. I don't have $1 billion in my bank account. I can choose to be sad. At the same time, I can choose to be happy. I can choose to be happy because I have these beautiful businesses. I am happy because I am healthy. I'm able to walk, talk, and do anything I want. I'm here with beautiful people around me. I have a beautiful family, beautiful set of friends, and all that. Isn't that good enough for you to feel grateful? And every time my brain goes, yes, I get distracted as well, just like any other human being. There will be days where I feel very low. But the difference is I quickly come back to it and I'll be like, why am I feeling low? What is the main reason? What is the main cause behind that whole sadness? And I try to understand that. And then I'll be like, okay, again, going back to that point where I was saying, what's the worst thing that happens? Why am I just stressing too much about it? Is it the end of the world? No. And then what I do, sometimes your brain goes like, ah, just too much, I can't take it. The easiest solution at that point, go back in bed, turn off everything, shut down everything, have a short nap. Good nap calms you down. Wake up, talk to yourself, tell yourself, hey, what's the worst thing that happens? Am I going to recover? Or is it just the end of my world and all that? Then you'll automatically feel much better. Come out, go for a nice walk while being present. Think of like what's happening with you just at this point, and that's it. That changes your life. And I'm telling you, I'm 31-year-old now. I learned about this whole mindfulness, meditations, and all that when I was 25. And that has been a game changer. People consistently tell me that I am a very different person now, who is more aware, who is more conscious in everything I do. And I do it very naturally because it changed the way I look at life. The way I look at life is like life is just one beautiful thing, opportunity. Yes, you talk about, oh, my next life, I wanna have a very good night even after I die and all that, but that's, you don't know if something like that exists. Just, you know what you are right now. Just live in that moment, make the most out of it, travel, figure out things you really love, work on it, do it, let things happen. Anyway, I'm okay, I'm ready, I'm happy. Just live in the moment. It's just such a beautiful feeling, and I really wish everyone all the best. And I'm pretty sure you guys can you guys will learn how to better manage loneliness. And yeah, there's just so much to this life. Make sure you embrace it. And yeah.
That's beautiful. You had me right at the beginning, but you also you confirmed it. You sealed the deal when you said nap. Like I'm a huge fan of the nap, and yeah, can confirm the power of it.
Definitely.
Chai, before you go, how can people find you?
So they can find me on LinkedIn. So if you go on LinkedIn, if you search Chai Bade, you can find me. If you want to have a quick chat, if you want to connect, feel free to shoot me a message or send a connect request. But if you want to find the bunch up, if you want to try and use, again, if you're based in Australia, if you're based in Victoria, go on to thebunchup.com.au and you'll be able to find our website and then have a look around, browse activities, maybe list an activity. You never know, maybe you'll find a beautiful friend who sort of share your interests and all that. You guys can do activities together and all that. It just changes the way yeah, you look at life as well. So yeah, go onto LinkedIn or jump on our website, or if you want to sort of yeah, sort of reach out to me via our marketing agency. You can go on to digimarketers.co. You can also reach out to me via my marketing website. But yeah.
Are we putting the links in the episode description to both the websites and to your LinkedIn? So, Chai Bade, thank you so much for spending some time with us at the Humans Connecting podcast. Something tells me that we'll be sitting here going, I remember Chai when, and we'll be hearing and seeing big things from you. I cannot wait to see how you help humans connect. Thanks so much for being on the podcast.
Thank you for having me, Phil. You're an amazing person. And thank you for sharing all your knowledge, all your experiences with everyone else. And you're doing such a beautiful thing. And I really, really appreciate for everything you're doing it. And kudos to you.
You Chai, and that's now on record too. So I'll be playing that over and over again.
You
Thanks,
should.
Chai.
Thank you, Phil. All right. Bye.
Just an amazing conversation. Welcome back. And I'm really curious, what's going on with you right now? Let's check in. What's going on in your mind? What are you thinking of after that conversation? What's happening within you, like within your heart, like emotionally? What are you feeling now? Are you feeling inspired? Do you feel emboldened, encouraged to take steps towards connection? What's going on in your mind? Are you really just sort of like, is it busy, or are you feeling like, actually, I'm feeling like my mind is focused right now? What's going on? Because it's important. You've just been given a whole lot of wisdom and insight from our conversation with Chai. And it's important that you spend a moment. I invite you to spend a moment and checking in with yourself about what's going on with you physically, mentally, and emotionally. For me, what I got from that conversation was just that, I mean, there was a couple of things in there that you heard, but for me, it was all about the power of being present, of being in the moment and being mindful. And for me, so many instances where I am like living in the future. It's all about the hustle. It's all about the creating of what, I want and what the team wants, humans connecting to be. There's so many things and like with, not just work, but like home life and, keeping track of where the family are up to and what friends are doing and all that kind of stuff. I know that you understand what I'm saying in that. And it can be just really easy for me to completely miss the only place and time where connection happens, and that's in the moment. So for me, Chai's kind of share uh, that his sister sitting down and essentially slapping him around the head, going, yeah, you need to slow down. You need to actually be more present. And then Chai having the courage to challenge that internal narrative, the story. As I said in the episode, I really needed that. Really needed that reminder. And Chai, I'm so grateful. And Chai's sister, I'm really grateful that you had that conversation with Chai too. You stepped in and you supported him in that way. Thank you. Thank you. So that's it for this episode. As always, we simply would love to hear what you thought of it, how Chai's wisdom, insight, how my wisdom and insight supported you, and how you felt served, supported, challenged, and inspired by this episode. We are at Humans Connecting, a social enterprise committed to making a positive impact on humans globally, particularly on how they relate to loneliness and how humans then use loneliness to get the connection that loneliness is telling them that they're missing. We are absolutely committed to doing that. And if you are another social enterprise, if you're an organization, if you're a business, and you want to make a positive contribution and a positive impact on the world as well, and you feel like, we could do some great things together, reach out to us. We're always open to partnerships, collaborations, and talking about how it is that we can together magnify our impact. If you're interested in that, follow the link in the episode description, arrange a call, and let's change the world. Thank you so much for choosing to spend time, because the only place that connection lives is in the present. And we only are able to connect when we consciously choose to invest the time. We understand, we're really grateful that you chose to invest some time with us today. And we hope that you're now leaving this episode just really excited, to maybe even a little nervous. I'm okay with that, but really wanting to be mindful. However it is, we're really glad that you chose to spend some time with us. We simply cannot wait to serve you, support you, challenge, and inspire you in the next episode. We'll see you then.